Twende Shule, the program that offer an online teaching in various subjects. So we proceed with our history subject. As I'm already saying, that those who steal your history will control your future. So for those who deny you from knowing your history, from knowing your past, they want to control your future. So in order to know your future, you must know your history. Therefore, today I'm going to introduce you in a new topic in Form 4, the last topic about Africa in international affairs. So this is the fourth topic in Form 4 and the last topic in Form 4. So today we are going to introduce a new topic about Africa in international affairs. By introduction, within this topic we are going to cover various subtopics, whereby first we need to know the continent of Africa. The history of Africa we have already examined in detail, how Africa was colonized, how Africa struggled for their independence. Therefore, after the independence, how Africa now started to build its own economy, how Africa started to restructure their political system, how Africa started to restructure their social system, and how Africa now started to relate among themselves as African, but also in international affairs or outside of the African continent. Therefore, within this topic, we are going to cover about continental cooperation, how Africa cooperated among themselves, whereby Africa cooperated among themselves through the formation of Organization of African Unity, which later changed to be African Unity, AU. Africa cooperates through regional integration. Within Africa itself, it cooperates through regional integration, including East African Community, including COMESA, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, including Economic Community for West African States, including South African Development Community, SADC. So Africa cooperate among themselves through various regional integration. First is continental, which is OAU, now is AU. Then regional integration, including East African Community, Common Market for East and Southern Africa, Economic Community for Western African States, and South Africa Development Community. So these are all continental and regional integration, whereby Africa relate with each other within Africa. Then the second part of this topic, you are going to see how Africa relates with the external world, whereby Africa relates with the external world through the United Nations Organization, which is now a United Nations. Africa relates with the external world through non-aligned movement, which I'm not sure if it's still surviving up to date. Africa relates with the external world through Commonwealth. Of Nations. So when you see this, you know how Africa relates among themselves and how Africa relates with the external world. So here is about how Africa relates among themselves, and here is how Africa relates with the external world. Therefore, we are going to start with the continental cooperation, whereby continental cooperation will say African countries work together to solve political, social, and economic problems that faced them after independence. So soon after the independence, if you remember in the last topic we discussed about those problems which faced Africa after the independence. So due to those problems that faced Africa after the independence, the African heads of the state, the African people, the African elites, they started to solve their problem by uniting together in order to have a joint effort to fight for their problem. So they work together to fight or to solve political, social, and economic problems that faced them after the independence. The origin of continental cooperation in Africa could be traced back to Pan-African movement, which aimed at uniting all people of African origin residing in Africa and diaspora. So the Pan-African movement aimed at uniting all people of African origin, whether are residing in Africa or are residing out of the African continent, that we call diaspora. So it aimed to unite all people in order to solve their social, political, and economic problems. It aimed to unite all people in order to protect the dignity of African continent. It aimed to unite all people together in order to fight for their rights. So the word pan means all together. Therefore, Pan-African means African together, or African togetherness, or all Africa. So all people of African origin, whether you are residing in Africa, or you are residing in Europe, or you are residing in America, or you are residing in any continent, as long as you are from Africa, that you are originated from Africa, they were to unite together to solve their problem. Therefore, African continental cooperation was established to preserve political independence and freedom, was established to unite all people of African origin in fighting against social and political economic oppression. It was formed to protect African dignity, but also was formed to challenge the ideology of European supremacy. So African cooperation manifested through the formation of the following organization, which we will discuss after. Therefore, because we as African continent, we are degraded for too long. When the European dominated the African continent, they brainwashed us, they created the mentality whereby Africa we are thinking that we are inferior while the European are superior. I remember one day, one professor from Oxford University was teaching his student. Then the student asked him that we are always studying the history of European in Africa. Why don't we study the history of Africans in Africa? Then the professor replied by saying, at the moment Africa have no history. Maybe at the future Africa could have their own history. So even when those European writers were writing about Africa, they wrote that Africa is the dark continent, is the barbaric. So the darkness cannot have history. So they are always narrating the history of European in Africa instead of narrating the history of Africans in Africa. So they assumed us that we had no history. So you may see that we as Africa, we need to rewrite our history. We need to restructure our history. We need to reconstruct our history, because the history we have now was offered by the European with their Eurocentric view. So we need to rewrite our history according to our Afrocentric view. Because for too long, our history has been mistreated. As Africa had no history, Africa had no development. So we needed to rewrite our history. Though we have formed the Organization of African Unity in order to solve our social, political, and economic problem, but I call upon all African leaders and all African writers to rewrite our history. Because I said, those who steal your past will control your future. Those who steal your history will control your future. Therefore, let us see about the Organization of African Unity.